Hey everyone, this is Moonray, also known as Meatloaf Man, and sometimes Mona Artemis, your showrunner on Crossover X. And with me, I have a guest.
Hi everyone, I'm Tyler. Though most of you may know me by my username, Misfortune Dark, editor for Crossover X and Organization XPX.
Today we wanted to use our platform to talk to you guys about our friends and colleagues over at Death Battle. Now me personally, I think the show needs no introduction, as I'm fairly certain if you watched our content in the past, you are probably a consistent viewer of theirs as well. But in any case, Death Battle is a show that originally launched in late 2010 under the now defunct gaming website SkewerAttack. It features 2 or more characters from across fiction going head to head in some of the coolest animated fights you've ever seen, with the winners being determined all through research. Hosted by these two Chads, he's Wiz and that's Boomstick.
Well, only one of them's voiced by Chad Ray.
It's their job to analyze their weapons, armors, and skills to see who would win a death battle. In time, SkewerAttack and Dust Death Battle would later be acquired by the now recently defunct but legendary Rooster Teeth Productions. While already showing signs of it early on, it was from here that the show would truly end up becoming something more than what it started as. Throughout the last decade, it would evolve in terms of overall presentation, how research is conducted and conveyed, the quality and variety of animation styles, and the scale of what kind of mind-boggling, earth-shattering, universe-breaking, sun-throwing, chaos-bending battles we could lay our eyes on. And it's all thanks to the many hardworking people that would come to contribute their talents to the Death Battle team over time. As of the making of this video, the show has produced nearly 200 episodes, and has left quite the impact on pop culture, leading to versus discussions becoming more popular, new friendships being born, and of course, inspiring many fans like us. It's no secret that for years, a lot of the content that we've produced with Crossover X was influenced by Death Battle itself. We've had a blast doing what we do as a team, and we'll always owe it to these guys, in the lab and behind the scenes, for inspiring us as a community to create so many awesome projects involving our favorite characters, all while celebrating the many worlds they come from. Heck, Tyler and I owe it to the show for allowing us to be able to meet in the first place. I've talked up a storm discussing the show's history already, so I want to give the floor to you so you can talk about how much the show means to you personally. And hey, while you're at it, you have a favorite episode of the show that you want to talk about? Any moments in the history of the show being around that stuck with you?
I've been a huge fan of Death Battle ever since the early days of Season 1, back when I was still in middle school. I still remember that day when I first discovered Akuma vs Shang Tsung while searching up videos about Mortal Kombat, since I was just getting into the series at the time. And after watching that faithful video, I was hooked. I mean, come on, it was basically Deadliest Warrior with fictional characters. That sounded awesome to a 12-year-old me. And the rest was history after that. I met many people I now call my friends thanks to the series and its community, and the show's been a huge inspiration for me wanting to take up video editing as a hobby, which leads us to now. So, favorite episode. Not gonna lie, this was a tough one to think about, as there's been tons of episodes from the past and the present that I've called my favorite throughout my life. From the earth-shaking giant robot brawl of Power Rangers vs Voltron to the brutal and beautifully hand-drawn samurai showdown that is Samurai Jack vs Afro Samurai. The most recent seasons especially has given me a ton of new favorites of mine, like Magneto vs Tetsuo, Goku vs Superman 2023, Guts vs Dimitri, and many more. But out of all of them, the one that to me feels like it incorporates everything I love about the series in a nicely wrapped 23-minute box would have to be none other than the Season 8 finale, Saitama vs Popeye. When this first got revealed, it was a genuine shock to me. Like, sure, Saitama being here definitely made sense for the season all about celebrating the show's 10th anniversary. He's arguably up there as one of the most requested singular characters in Death Battle history. But Popeye as an opponent? It was certainly a surprise seeing an old school character like him, who isn't as talked about as Saitama in a versus sense, show up here, but when you think about it for a bit, I can see what they were going for here. Both were bald, both were ridiculously overpowered, both got their strength from basic healthy habits like exercise and vegetables.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So how about the actual episode itself? Well, as I said before, it's basically everything that truly makes for a great modern death battle. The analysis was hilarious, from Boomstick's reaction to both Saitama's training regimen and of course Popeye's spinach, to the lame names of Saitama's standard punch attacks, while at the same time going into the crazy and ridiculous feats these two have accomplished in a genuinely informative and entertaining way that would lead to these two facing off against each other in a fight to the death. Speaking of which, let's get to said fight to the death, and honestly, what else could be said about this that hasn't been said already? The setup was perfect for these two. The voice performances for both Ryan Abadi and Liam Swan were perfect for the two combatants. The hand-drawn parts were amazingly well drawn. Balderdash is such an exhilarating track throughout. The out-of-nowhere sprite and 3D sections were genuine surprises to witness from the first viewing. This freaking thing shows up during Devil Artemis' section. And overall, the actual fight itself just felt so perfect in combining Saitama's hype-inducing anime-style fighting with Popeye's rubber hose-inspired attacks. But to me, the aspect that really shot this one out to being one of my favorites has to be the ending, with Saitama happily realizing that after years of being the strongest person in the world, where every opponent he faces splatters into complete nothingness after a single punch, he's finally found someone who can give him a genuinely exciting, no-holds-barred fight. And it's this ending, on top of the other elements that led up to this moment, like Saitama's genuine disappointment after seeing our cartoony Sailor Man die to a single serious punch initially, on top of excitedly asking Popeye how he's gotten so strong later in the fight, that's led me to this observation. Death Battle, especially nowadays, isn't just some show about finding out who wins those playground debates you've had in the past. But it's also a series that's able to tell some of the coolest crossover stories that in some ways we might not be able to get officially, even if someone in said story has to die. Fights like this are why I adore this show in the first place. Just going all out to tell a genuinely exciting story about two characters from two different mediums entering the heat of battle, while also learning about said characters in a fun and entertaining way. The matchup itself already felt perfect to be a finale with what these two were capable of, but the episode itself showcasing everything that makes this show what it is in the best and most over-the-top way imaginable makes it even more fitting to be the finale of the season, all about celebrating the series and its accomplishments. As for my favorite memory related to Death Battle, there's been plenty to choose from, but for me, it's gotta be the one time Ray, DJ, Lychee, Origin, and I got together and got a ton of people from the community to help recreate the fight from the 100th episode of Death Battle, Mario vs. Sonic. It was a ton of fun seeing all the different kinds of mediums and techniques people used to help recreate this fight, and seeing it all come together in the end to form a perfectly chaotic and entertaining recreation of the infamous rematch from the many talented artists and animators of this community. However, while the creative process was a huge reason for this being a memorable moment for me, it was also the timing of its release that truly made this something to remember. I think many of us remember where we were on the day of March 6, 2024 when we got the unexpected news of Rooster Teeth shutting down. It was a complete blindside to everyone at the time, even to the people who worked for the company, and many were wondering what was going to happen to the many shows and creators the company hosted, and Death Battle was no exception to that. Everyone was questioning what the future held for the show, and many were saddened by the possibility that Galactus vs. Unicron might actually be the series finale after everything we've been through. We were still working on the collab at the time, and the news definitely hit a lot of us hard. But at the same time, the news also inspired us to push on and finish up the long-awaited Reanimation collab, because this wasn't just a simple collab anymore. But it was now an opportunity to help bring the community that followed this show for over a decade together in what felt like the bleakest time to be a fan of Death Battle. Thus, April 25th, 2024 rolled around. The collab finally premiered, and it was a blast. The people in the live chat were into it, and coincidentally, a community clash was going on in the Death Battle Discord, with many in the voice chat, including the actual Death Battle team themselves, were reacting to the collaboration that this fandom put together to celebrate the show that we all love. It was an incredible experience throughout, and every single person on the collab absolutely killed it in making this project come to life. And I hope we get to witness more events like this in the future from this creative community. I couldn't have been happier to be part of a big project like this from the fandom. But that's all I got for now, as it's time to pass it on to Ray with his favorite episodes and memories with Death Battle. Take it away, my friend.
Favorite episode? That's hard to choose. There's a lot of episodes I've come to love over the years. There's stuff like Snake vs. Sam, which remains a solid classic to this day, no pun intended, and even the most recent Bill Cipher vs. Discord has become a solid escape to entertaining entropy. But I personally want to save that for when my review of the episode comes out on my personal channel later this year. As for what I can talk about now, I gotta honestly give it to Goku vs. Superman 2023. Season 10 in and of itself is a solid season, showing how much Death Battle has grown, but no episode perfectly encapsulates that like the updated outing between our favorite Saiyan and Kryptonian. The analysis for these guys is the best it's ever been, with researchers like Ultra Guy pulling out all the stops in terms of media for the host to cover. Pretty much everything important is here and no stone is left unturned. Couple this with one of the best 3D animations the show has ever seen, solid voice acting, amazing music, phenomenal writing, and my favorite depiction of the characters interacting to date, and you have the recipe for what I can personally call the definitive version of this matchup. In my opinion, it really can't get better than this. I love the original Goku vs Superman, and honestly, even the sequel has some cool moments going for it. I was there for the world premiere of both those older episodes, and they hold a special place in my heart. But man, this is it. That fist bump at the end made it all for me. This is who these characters are. I love that they're fighting for fun, like they're old friends, closest brothers. I'll always love these guys, and I appreciate Death Battle for being able to finally give them the character presentations these two have always rightfully deserved. As for a favorite moment in Death Battle history, again, there's a lot for me to choose from. If I had to narrow something down though, I'd have to say it'd be finally heading down to RTX with all my friends that I've met retroactively thanks to Death Battle. Whether they were from Crossover X, the Death Battle team, or another independent versus channel project, or just really someone cool that we all knew in our social media circles. In my friend group, we try to make it an annual tradition to try to meet up with each other every year in one place, regardless of where we live in the world. In 2022, we decided to head down to Austin, Texas, so we could all spend time with each other and, while over there, attend RTX. While over there, we eventually got to meet up with the legends themselves. Ben, Chad, Liam, and Billy, who were phenomenal to talk to and incredibly nice. We got this awesome group shot together, we celebrated a friend's birthday, and we even watched the newest episode of Death Battle together as a group. And you can sure as heck bet that we were hyped during that panel when we saw who Excalibur was about to fight. The video file's title containing Raiden's name beforehand notwithstanding. I owe it all to Death Battle for connecting all of us from different corners of the globe. I'll be seeing my friends again in December of this year, and I can't wait to make more awesome memories with them. It's always hard when the last day of these trips come, when we all have to say goodbye to each other, but moments and memories like these make them all the more worth it. And we know obviously it's just goodbye for now, and we'll always see each other again someday soon enough. As you may know, throughout 2024, the fate of the show has been left up in the air, but there's great news. Recently, Death Battle creator Ben Singer has announced that the show is now going independent, and it, along with the channel and brand itself, are all officially owned by him, in partnership with fellow show staff Chad James, Sam Mitchell, and Austin Harper. With this comes the launch of a crowdfunding campaign, hosted on Kickstarter. For a while, we as a community have heralded the movement to save Death Battle. Now it's time for us to follow through. From one independent versus channel to now another, and as one big interconnected network of fans, let's do our part to contribute and help give back to the team that provided so much for us these last few years. I've always been a proponent of the idea that even something as little as $1 can go a long way in supporting any project, and Death Battle is no exception to that. Episodes of this show typically get close to, if not over, 1 million views on average. Now this is me shooting for the sky, but stick with me. Imagine if every single one of those individual viewers donated $1. That's a lot of support that can fund so much for the show in terms of episodes, and it'll help make sure that the hardworking folks putting these episodes together can get paid. Above all, it'll most certainly allow for even more great episodes and videos coming out from Death Battle in the future. Please, help support the Safe Death Battle campaign however you can. I would love to see this show continue, and there are plenty more stories to be told, and I would love for them to eventually end things off on their own terms, whenever that time may come. A good number of Crossover X's members are actually also actively involved in Death Battle's production, so go show them some love as well by being part of this campaign. Like I said, any amount helps. I'm sure as heck going to be contributing, and you should too. You can find their Kickstarter campaign at kickstarter.com/projects/save-death-battle. The link is on screen right now, and you can also find it in the description below. Any final words, Tyler?
Honestly, I couldn't have put it better myself. Either way, I hope that everyone who watches this and then some comes together and helps bring back the show that's been a part of many of our lives for years. And if there's any community that can help save Death Battle and bring it back stronger and better than before, it's absolutely this Versus community. Let's freaking save Death Battle, guys!
Thanks everyone for watching. We appreciate the love and support going into the channel since its start years back, and we likewise wish all the same for Ben, Chad, and everyone else at the show. We really appreciate you guys, and hope to see more from all of you soon. Until then everyone, it's time to save Death Battle!